to the point, like when I first started my corporate career, I was in a management development program and with the intent to run like a little business within the larger corporate umbrella.
Mm.
Um, and what's interesting is the theme from that program was, you're the first to arrive, the last to leave.
Yeah. Yeah.
And whether it was healthy or not, it didn't matter. That was the mantra. So you suddenly, the decisions you made were around, that's how you had to show up,
Yeah.
which didn't serve you long term to be sustainable. It's not sustainable to not have that balance.
Yeah.
Um, and although when I think of how I built my career early on, it was pushing through, it was doing things that others said it wasn't possible, or it was hard. I was not afraid of hard. That didn't scare me at all. What I think one of the big moments though was realizing that when you push that hard and you start to get those signals from the universe that you might need to take a break, you might need to like pause just a moment. When you don't listen, the universe has a way of kind of thumping you on the head and forcing you to take a pause.
Mhm.
And so one of those pivotal moments, I was traveling. We were rolling out an entire new program. I was traveling across the nation. Literally, I would fly out Sunday afternoon so I could be there and set up by 8 a.m. Monday morning. And then I had to make sure that all of the stuff that I had created and we were rolling out made it to the next location. So you'd have to pack it up on Friday afternoon, which meant I never caught the Friday night flight. I flew home Saturday morning.
Oh,
So I
wow.
literally would have 24 hours at home
Mm.
before I was heading to the next group.
Wow.
I did that for about a year.
Okay.
And uh, what was crazy was I ended up having a medical event that required a mandatory 7-week leave of
7 week. Wow.
7 weeks.
Yeah.
And that was my first major pause where I made major decisions. I was like, nope, I'm going to take care of my health. I didn't want to be alone anymore. I might want to have a family, but I had no space or time that I allowed to take care of my health in the way that I needed to, or to even consider meeting someone, and having the opportunity to have a family. And as a result of that, I started making those shifts. I made the time. I had the conversation where I'm like, I can't keep this travel up. And here's what I propose of how I could still meet the business needs and my own needs. And what was crazy was the reality of how much I had felt and put so much pressure on myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
That the minute I said that, they were like, well, of course.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? No. And so one of those pivotal moments was realizing that it doesn't have to be out of balance to be good. And that I needed to be the one to say what was my compass, what was my anchor, for how I would guide myself to have a balanced life, to meet the needs of the business and my own personal needs.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, I feel like you were sharing this in a recent conversation, the power of the pause. And I think that that is, exactly, sometimes it's a forced upon pause, right? Or it's a giant life event that forces you to kind of re-envision or rethink or shift. One of our favorite authors that you and I share right now always talks about, but what if you didn't have to wait for that? What if you didn't have to have life like plonk you on the head or, have the rug pulled out from under you? What if you could intentionally find space? And I don't think that's how we are taught to operate